A healthier, happier life begins here. Welcome to Mercy Moments, a podcast by Mercy Health in association with True Chat.
Did you know that Urbana's downtown is going through a dramatic renovation and expansion? Or that many of the buildings are in the process of being preserved, updated, and repurposed? The Monument Square initiative is indeed drastically changing and greatly enhancing the look and feel of the downtown area. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm the host of Mercy Moments, T. Allen Ceyler, coming to you from Champaign County here at True Chat Studios in Urbana, Ohio. She has served within the community in many different capacities, including as the Monument Square District's board president. Please welcome to the program, Vicky Deere-Bunnell. So can you tell our listeners a little bit more about yourself?
I was born and raised in Urbana. I graduated from Urbana High School. I just recently retired from banking after 45 years. I really like downtown. I really like Urbana. It's just the home feel. Just really remember a lot of my spending a lot of time in downtown in Urbana.
So you mentioned your background in banking. Where are some of the places you worked locally?
Basically, I worked different areas in banking, but ended up in operational.
I see. So how did you get involved with public works or community projects?
I was asked back in 2013-14 if I would want to be on the board, and I was very interested. I'd volunteered on several different, just to help on several of the different events.
Yeah.
So I thought I would like to get involved. So I said yes. And from there, I've been on the board since 2014. Started out just as a board member, and then became the secretary, and then became the president.
So is this one of the first projects that you've worked on locally?
Being on in this board, yes. The one and only volunteer part I've ever done, other than just volunteering around town.
So can you tell us what exactly is the Monument Square initiative?
We actually do have our mission statement, and it's called to champion the development of an economically, socially, and culturally vital central business district, enhancing the quality of life in the city.
I see.
Basically, what we like to try to do is we're more of like a liaison. If merchants or downtown businesses, they want something, they would actually draw up something for us, come to us. We would review and talk with them exactly what they want and what their hopes are, and then we would take it to the city. So we would try to help in that manner. We are also the ones that help with the beautification downtown as far as the flowers on the monument, the baskets. We try to get that beautification going. So we kind of work with all the businesses downtown to see if there's some improvement that they want along the way, and we try to work a plan out between the businesses and the city.
So what's the history of that area, though?
The history, well, as you know, Urbana was founded in 1805. It was a slow growing, and there's always been like churches and dry goods stores and retail stores ever since, it was founded. It picked up when there was railroad stations that allowed Urbana to connect to all over the state, and that picked up into additional banking and manufacturing. Some of the oldest buildings were like 1868, 1893 that we still have. Two very old historical buildings that actually have the same type of business in it. So that's kind of interesting. But in 1894, the Monument Square Historical District actually got listed on the National Register of History of Places.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And it's of other architect and their contribution to the local history. So the contribution to make it is about 25 acres, and there were 66 contributing properties and 13 non-contributing. So in other words, there's some that have the actual architects and the history. There's like 66 of those buildings. So that's what helped it to be listed onto the National Register.
So what types of architecture are actually represented, though?
There's like 5 different types of architect that's on all these buildings that were known from back in the history.
So what types of businesses were actually in some of these spaces originally?
You had general stores, your dry goods. There is studios, little old-time photography. That was earlier back, and then now it's, There's really Kermazi's, which is a well-known,
Right.
place in Urbana. That one's one of the longest retail stores, continuous retail stores. That was established back in 1893. Then the only second one that we have, which is the longest store or business, is off of Church Street, and that's the Monument building.
I see.
And that was back in 1868. So we have several old buildings. You have some that were built way back, but they've also been demolished and replaced. So, we're lucky to have what we still have standing, basically.
So what are some of the more interesting businesses that have been in the area over the years?
Urbana was always known for their own mom and pop. You really never had any chains of anything. It's basically they were privately owned businesses. Right. So you had all the way from, your drug stores to your, you even had your own AAA.
Just a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you did. And that AAA, I'm going to say, is probably the only one that was probably more of a chain type of a store, because everybody's really got their own mom and pop style. So
before the most recent revival, when was that area most prosperous?
I'm going to say in the 70s, before you had the malls, before you had, because everybody went to their mom and pop store, your shoe stores were here, your clothing stores, your dry goods, everything was right there. Back in the 70s, you had your pioneer days downtown. So I think it was very vibrant then, before the big malls, before you had your big box stores. So
how did traffic actually affect growth? Because it seems to me it benefits from having 68 and 35 go through there.
It does. Over the years, you can see from the pictures the differences. What's changed and everything. As far as the recent, is the roundabout a plus? Was it the lights back then? By working in the square, you did see the difficulties of some of the traffic going back and forth. Right. Many semis up on the Monument, but it is having two highways connect. Having all highways really was a benefit, because you do have to pass through at some point, and that those highways are very busy.
What's interesting is what is old sometimes becomes new again, and a lot of towns are getting those turnarounds now. Again, so when did the idea of making improvements to the area first take shape? I
think the property owners, by looking at other surrounding communities, they saw different things happening in town. I think it was always a thought there, because you do have an organization, CCPA, who that's a preservation that they were established, and they like to see the areas stay basically like it was, or at least a little, keep the history. So you have some regulations, you have, some agreements you have to go through, some guidelines, some bylaws before you can do improvements. So I think the people that are buying up the owners now, they like to bring the history back. It might not look exactly the same way, but, like where they boarded up the windows, they're unboarding, they're making the second floors. Some of the a lot of them are into lofts. One of them still has an old movie theater in there. One of them still has the ballroom that used to be. So you have a lot of lofts coming there. I think the owners saw the potential, and you do have, it seems to be, like you said, it's a phase coming back in.
Right.
That they actually see that there's such a need or want of people wanting lofts,
right.
into an area that they can walk, or, so they see it, and there is quite a bit of an improvement that way.
Now, you guys also had the parking meters removed, correct?
Yes. That was one of the first projects that we worked on, that they came in and asked, because they thought by removing the parking meters, that would help parking downtown, that people don't have to pay.
And you guys also added restrooms, right?
Well, we haven't yet. That's a project we're working on, and it's needed. We're going to add a restroom, and we're looking at mural on the side where that little park is, in the on the corner. So we are trying to make the beautification improvements, but the restrooms we really need, because in order to actually have this as a stopping point for visitors,
right,
as a destination place, one of the things you have to have is a public restroom.
So where are those going to go, Vicky?
It's going to be on the southeast side, there's a little park there, and it's called Legacy Park. We've already left a graveled area there, and there's already, a little bit of utilities there. That's where we are going to be building the restrooms, and they are going to be nice brick, beautiful. They are going to be nice restrooms, and we already have the drawings. We have it to the architect. That's done. It's back to the architect for some tweaking. And we actually have a contractor that's interested that's put the bid in on it.
So who are the major players involved in it?
This is all fundraising.
Is it?
It's all fundraising. So we were donated some money from another nonprofit that closed up, that folded. So we put that money aside, and that's kind of what we actually used to start with. And then we had some merchants that actually did some fundraising. We had a few donations. We haven't really gone out for everything because we don't have in black and white the final cost.
So what resources are going to be needed to make that happen?
We are going to be working with the Visitors Bureau as far as we have to come up with a game plan on how we're going to have it open, closed, the maintenance of it, how often the maintenance, anything like that. We have to come up with a game plan. And then what I will do is take that game plan to the city and get everything approved by that.
See.
So basically, once it's done. It's just hiring someone and having the ability to maintain it every year.
Well, that pretty much does it for the first segment. In the second segment, I'd like to talk a little bit more about the shops that are currently located in the area and what the future holds. We like to take this time to remind our listeners that all of True Chat's podcasts help pursue a common goal: to educate people by providing honest, open, and respectful conversations and information. To learn more about Mercy Moments, listen to the recap at the end of the program. And to search for previous episodes or find ways to listen, please visit us at mercymoments.org. Are you in need of medical imaging services? Then look no further. For Mercy Health Urbana Hospital and its newly renovated Imaging and Women's Center now offers everything from CT, MRI, and ultrasound to DEXA, and yes, even 3D mammography. Also, our team of board-certified radiologists will work with your prescriber to provide accurate and timely results. To learn more about medical imaging services, please visit us at mercy.com. Welcome back. Our topic today has been about the renovation and revitalization of the Monument Square area here in Urbana. And my guest today has been Vicky Deere-Bunnell. So today, what can the average person expect to see when they go downtown? Actually,
pretty much a little bit of everything. You have your dining, your nice dining, and it's all, again, mom and pop dining, no chains. You have several restaurants downtown. You have clothing store. You have several antique shops, and inside the antique shops, they actually have had booths that might be more crafty. You have, of course, you can go to insurance. You have your insurance companies down there. You have your attorneys down there. You have banks down there. You have beauty shops. So you have tattoo places. You pretty much have quite a few choices to choose from as you're walking the streets in Urbana.
I think we talked about this in the first segment a little bit. So what's the basic theme now? Like, I see a lot of antique shops down there.
You have a lot of antique shops, but when you go into there, you have a little mixture. It's not your antique shops that that it's just strictly all antiques. You kind of have a little bit of mixture, a flair of a little bit of modern, a flair of chic stuff. It's just they need to go in to see it and not be afraid to think it's all nothing but antiques, because
it's kind of a menagerie like it's always been, correct?
Well, it is. I mean, they have a lot of fine antiques, don't get me wrong, but inside there you might find, a few modern stuff that you might even like. So they try to go with the trend. So try not in their stores to keep everything. I mean, it's the majority of it is antiques, but you can find some more modern finds in there.
And like you stated earlier, there is plans for housing down there.
There's a couple places that are already being renovated for the lofts.
Those are really interesting.
Right. And they have beautiful lofts. CCPA puts on a loft tour that it's amazing when you go on there what those lofts really look like in a town of Urbana. And then the old bank is going to become a nice restaurant. So there's a lot going on, especially when you had the old hotel becoming a legacy place for senior living. So we're hoping that brings, people walking traffic along the way. You do have a nice bakery, so you have a variety of everything in walking downtown.
Now, you talked a little bit about how the amenities help draw events downtown. So what are some of the events that take place every year?
Well, the merchants just recently last year got together and started doing a second Saturday. They're actually having one tomorrow, and they have like 7 food trucks lined up, ready to go. So they started their own foot traffic. So they're doing second Saturdays, and they're having a little bit of music in the park. That's one that they started. We always have an art affair. We have a chili cook-off. We added the holiday horse parade and Santa coming into town. Last year we had a cruise in. This year, I believe there's going to be another cruise in. So we add as much as we can get by. Another reason why restrooms would be very nice to have.
But you guys are still open to hosting more events, right?
Oh, yes. We're open to anybody with ideas. They can come to us, and we'll try to work it out to see how we can, even if it's just a one-time for, a cause, if they want to have it downtown just to bring some more foot traffic. The merchants do a pumpkin walk in October, and that's really been, has brought a lot of outside shoppers.
So what is the process with that? In other words, when somebody wants to hold an event, what's the process for that?
Right now, we work one-on-one more so with the city than what we had been, because they found that we would be a nice liaison. So we have forms out there on our website that if you want something that's called an event form, they can fill it out. And what's going to happen is it submits to us. We reach out to them so we can tune down what they really want, what might need to be closed, some ideas we might have. And then we send it on to the city to approve. And the city's pretty lenient about, they're pretty good to work with. If you need the streets blocked, they have like an A, B, C plan. They provide the cones and they'll do the signage. So they're pretty easy to work with. If they think it can happen, they will help us make it happen.
Now, you talked a little bit more about funding. Can people donate to the initiative?
Mm-hmm. People can donate to the restrooms. Or I do have someone that's interested maybe in helping with the mural, but the restrooms naturally is the top priority. So we have had some individuals actually donate, but again, we haven't really gone out onto the donation part of it because we'd like to have it. We have the the rendering of it, but we don't have a true price of what it's going to cost. So it's hard to fundraise when you don't have a bottom, of what do you want to. Your goal is. So
what's the maximum amount that somebody can donate, or is it kind of just open-ended?
It's open-ended to anything. We had a merchant that actually did hot dog days on it, and they didn't charge. That went towards the restrooms. We had, some with jars that say restroom donations and everything like that. So they help, they help out as much as they can, but we haven't, like I said, we have not really reached out for large donations as of yet. We hope to be able to do that probably within the next month or two.
So you touched on this with the restrooms. What are the funds being used for?
I mean, they can donate. They can actually state what they want it to be for, and we can actually set that aside.
I see.
But right now, what we're focused on is the restrooms. But if there was something that when they know that we want a mural or something like that, and they say, well, we want to donate for the mural, we would house that as a mural.
So can people donate their time as well?
Oh, yes, please. Yes, we could always use volunteers, and it can be for an event. It can, if somebody has an idea that, they want help with, to think that they could bring some people, some vibrant activity into downtown, we're all for it. So yes, they can reach out to us at the website. We have a Facebook. So yes, we always look for volunteers.
So what are other ways? I think you just touched on the website. What are other ways where interested parties can get a hold of you?
On the website, there is a phone number that they can actually use. They can email. There's an email on that website that they can actually email us to get, if they have any questions or any ideas, they can directly email to us. And like I said, we're open to any ideas. A lot of people go to other places and they come back to us and say, well, wouldn't this be neat to do?
Right. Well, that pretty much does it for the program today. We'd like to end this show with something that we like to call Caring Corner. And this month's spotlight is on the Community Paramedicine Program at Mercy Health Urbana Hospital. It officially began in February of 2021, and Cheryl Weirs is the program's coordinator. The program is so successful that it will soon be available countywide through various EMS departments. Referrals into the program can be made by physicians, nurse practitioners, emergency personnel, nurses, care coordinators, social workers, discharge planners, EMS and fire departments, walk-in clinic personnel, and finally, the patients themselves. The program's goal is to be a bridge between potential patients, their needs, and community resources, and to provide them with the proper level of care. For example, it gives advice on or provides services for things like medication reminders, long-term care placement, obtaining medical equipment, in-home physical therapy, nurse visits, mental health placement, transportation needs, blood pressure checks, help applying for a passport, medication education, home delivery, home health needs, and finally, follow-up after an inpatient discharge. To learn more about the Community Paramedicine Program, please call us at 1-866-624-0366. Again, that's 1-866-624-0366. A quick reminder, our goal here at Mercy Moments is to promote local resources, awareness, and involvement. Therefore, if you have any comments related to past episodes or have suggestions for future programs, please contact us at taceyler@mercy.com. That's capital TACEYLER@mercy.com. Again, I'd like to thank my guest today, Vicky Deere-Bunnell, for being here. You can listen to Mercy Moments on TrueChat via Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or anywhere else fine podcasts are found. For Mercy Moments, Mercy Health Urbana Hospital, and TrueChat, I'm your host, T. Allen Ceyler.
Vicky Deere-Bunnell.
Thanks for listening today. Stay healthy, all right.